Good morning and welcome, Rotarians and guests. My name is Tom Hogan. I'm Sergeant of Arms, and I welcome you this morning to our regular September 25th, 2024 Rotary Club of Hudson meeting. Let's see, do we have any guests this morning? Don't believe we have. We have some guests who will be introduced as part of our program today. We'll get to them in a minute then. May I ask Rich Warfield to come up and bless us with an invocation this morning?
I'll try to keep it PG rated since we have young kids in the audience today. I wasn't referring to you. Not Marty. And we have a pastor in the audience here too, as past president. So I'm not being judged because he doesn't judge anybody. He got his eyes on me. All right, Heavenly, let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for this time together, gentlemen, ladies of Rotary. And thank you for the students that showed up that share their future with us too. We bless them. We ask for them to be blessed, and Lord God, pray for our leaders nowadays, especially our first leaders. Be careful what you say out of their mouth. You're watching over all of you. And thank you for this food this day. Let it nourish our bodies and great property. We pray.
Thank you. Better watch what I'm saying then. All right. That's right. All right, and may I ask James Field to come up and lead us in the pledge and the four-way test. James, thank you.
No, they took the word off. Okay, pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. 1, is it the truth? 2, is it fair to all serve? 3, will build better friendships. 4, will be beneficial to all concerned.
Well done. All right, and nothing else on my schedule here? Well, are we, is that how it works? Okay, so let's have our folks from the Service Learning Club class come up. Marty, Jamie, let's see now. Ava and Amelia? Oh my goodness.
So good morning, Rotary. So excellent. It's great to be back. Hope you all had a wonderful summer. Got to do some wonderful things and all that. We are off to a roaring start with Service Learning Class 2025, 88 new seniors, all in the class, already doing great things. I think they're gelling very well as a class. They're already off and going. They're doing some projects in the class, a partnership project to get to know each other, and also a Let Grow project, which if any of you read Jonathan Gates' Anxious Generation and all that, Hudson was at the forefront of all of that research, that in terms of student mental health. So a lot of them are doing that, which is great to see. We just had a number of students who got together and camped outside by themselves for the first time ever and did a great job. I did have a great time. I never built a campfire, never put up a tent, did all this, and said they had a wonderful time just being together and learning those skills. So that being said, we have, as usual, students here to talk to you about what they're doing this year. So I'm going to introduce Ava Hatchett, first student of the year.
Good morning, Rotary. My name is Ava Hatchett, and I'm a senior at Hudson High School and part of Service Learning. So for my site, I'm at Hudson Montessori School with the 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. And when I walked in there, I wasn't really sure what to expect because it's such a different philosophy, and I had never been to a Montessori, never really did research on it. So it was really interesting walking in and seeing how much more activity-based and like group work and just social skills based in Hudson. And it was so interesting because the first few weeks and still now, I watched them do their lessons, see how they teach, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you teaching both fourth and fifth graders? It was so interesting, but they all really, you can tell they all really enjoy that learning style. And I feel like it gives them a different sort of independence in the way that they do things. And every day, right before lunch and right before they leave for school, they clean their classrooms. They are the ones who vacuum. They all have specific jobs, and that is what they do every day. And it's just, it feels like they're getting them ready for life skills, which is something so cool to watch happen and see how their life is changing at the same time. But so what I've been doing so far is I do some paper like helping copy, but a lot of the things I do are just observing them and seeing how they go about their daily school day. Sometimes we get involved in things and are able to do little projects with them, which is fun. We do a lot of one-on-one helping kids because they have a lot of free time. And I have a story. I I was helping this girl who was writing and she was really struggling. And so just being able to give her clues and how to continue your story and how to make it cohesive was really helpful. And then I came back 5 minutes later and she had a whole paragraph of it. And that it made my heart feel happy, but also sometimes you have to be able to give yourself your own tips that you give other people. So that was helpful for me too, to be able to say, if I can give her these tips, I can give myself them too. So overall, it has been amazing being there, and I really enjoyed. All the teachers are great, the students are great. And it's just such an enjoyable place to come into 2 days because I love being there, and I hope they like me being there too. But but I am hoping to go to college in fall. My top schools are OSU and Indiana University in Bloomington. And I hope to study something in the medical field. My dad's a doctor, but psychiatry is not for me, but I'm hoping to do either something pre-med or I really am interested in physical therapy and sports medicine because I had to go through some of that when I played volleyball. So those are my two things. I just really want to be able to help people and kind of get the reward back of feeling that you're helping them because it's a special feeling. But so yeah, but thank you so much for having me today.
Good morning, Rotarians. So I just want to say a little bit more about Ava. I got a chance to see her volunteering last week at Hudson Montessori. One of the reasons we picked her is because she and one of the other classmates who were both volunteering there did something special. They went after school for a fundraiser that the kids in her class were doing to help. It was a classmate who had cancer. So they actually, Nicole and her and actually like support this sale. Just kind of that's something special. Just kind of help set the tone for what we know for our students. So that's one of the reasons we did want to write this for today. In terms of service learning, the other cool thing that we have coming up to build off what Marty was talking about is we've got Camp Legend, which it's like that thing that kind of creeps up on us every year because it's already in the and it doesn't feel like it should be a month. It feels like it should still be a couple months from now. It's coming. And so that's going to be Tuesday, Tuesday, October 22nd. And you're certainly welcome and encouraged to come. We'd love to have some Rotarians there if you're available and interested. We'll be doing service from about 9 until about noon at Camp Ledgewood over in the Valley. And we'll have all of our students there, and the service will be on site at Camp Ledgewood. We'll have practice before that, and then we'll have theater lunch after that as well. So we'd love to have anybody who's interested. You can reach out to myself or Marty and let us know, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see some people there. And it's a great trip. One of the things I think we appreciate most about the trip is Marty was talking about, these kids who camped out together and kind of had that new experience together with the Let Grow projects and the partner projects that we have. It's just another way for them to kind of break down the barriers with each other and hopefully continue to get to know each other in a much less school-like or less stressful setting. Hopefully people are more willing to let their guards down and just get to know each other. Hopefully forget that stuff in 7th grade that made you hate this person forever, all that stuff. that we ask to just give people any chance. I also want to introduce another student, actually Amelia, I've kind of known since a little bit. We had Amelia's older sister a handful of years ago, and she brought Amelia and introduced me to her. Amelia was a lot younger. But I also had Amelia last year at our class, so I got to know her through that as well. One of the really cool things about Amelia though is where she's serving, and this is a thank you to Rotary because we wouldn't know about this place without Rotary. In the spring, I don't know if you remember, it was probably like March, January, February, March in that area. You guys did your support, your fundraising for an organization called Safer Futures at the time. And it's in Kent, it's a shelter for better women. And because of that, we actually were able to reach out to them and create it as a site. So this is Amelia's site. I'll let her tell you a little more about it.
Good morning, Rotary. I'm Amelia George. I'm a senior at Hudson High School in service learning. My site is Safer Futures, as you know. But I've really been enjoying my time there. I've gotten to get to know the residents and stuff. So it's a temporary home for people who are victims of domestic violence. They do some legal stuff. They have a legal advocate who helps with restraining orders and stuff like that. And they also help find housing for people, and like jobs and all that kind of stuff, help them get back on their feet. It's not a big place. They only have 5 rooms, but I've gotten to know the residents, and even though everything that they've been through, they're doing pretty well. So it's cool to see. And there's some kids there at the moment, and they're adorable. And it's been a lot of fun getting to play with them and stuff like that. But one story I have is that the first day I was there, there's a set of twins, and they didn't really want anything to do with me. They were just kind of like standoffish. But then I got to spend some time with them, and we did some painting. And yesterday when I walked in, they saw me and their faces lit up. And the one girl, she ran over to me and she hugged my leg. And it was just really nice to see that I am making an impact on their day, and that they are happy to see me.
Morning. Doing good. How are you?
College plan. I'm going to go to college. I'm not really sure where yet. Been thinking about going into teaching. Yeah.
So as always, thank you so much for your support. We really do appreciate it every year. We love coming to these meetings and working together throughout the year. We'll have those same opportunities as we usually have. We are at the policy projects and our engagement projects. Awesome. So thank you.
What's the biggest about position spot? Okay. I have some announcements that I'll hold until the end of the meeting. So we get our program ongoing. And there's one other thing I want to talk about. I do want to do just to sort of touch on that. We have a cluster project. I don't know if everybody's familiar with this cluster thing, and quite frankly, being brought up to speed on it. But it's a number of clubs that are around us. We focus on a project every year. This year, it will be the Harvest Home, which is a subsidiary of the Haven Reps. This is for the only people I think that go into Harvest Home by knowledge, because I've been in there, were women with children, predominantly, but they tend to, but it has not been improved since the 1980s. I mean, I went through it and thought, place could use not some paint, but even more than that. So it's a grant that we get a grant from the International Foundation from Backward District. We use that, and all the clubs chip in a matching divided by the number of clubs. I think our contribution is $600 some odd dollars. Exactly what it is. I'll give you more details when I have details. It's
haven't sent us the request yet, but it has been approved by the district. So funds are there. This would start probably January. Just what we're shooting for. And then I'll have David Basil introduce our guest. Oh, I do want to pass around the sign-up sheet for the bell, the Oregon bell at Acme. I think I passed it around a couple of weeks, but now I need to get it back to its home. So I'll pass that around as the meeting goes on, and David, go ahead up and introduce our guest.
Thank you, President Kelly. Good morning, fellow Rotarians and guests. As I hope everybody is aware, there is a very important issue on this November's ballot. It is an amendment to our state constitution. It's called Issue 1. Deals with districting for representation, both in Congress and at the state level. We are very pleased to be able to welcome Loran Murphy this morning from the League of Women Voters to explain this amendment to us and answer some questions. Loran. And please join me in giving a warm Rotary welcome to Loran Murphy.
Thank you. Hoping that he there. Can we hit slideshow? Oh, well, the slideshow. You see it? There you go. Start from the beginning. Way in the left corner here.
Is that shared also? Perfect.
I'm going to.
I put out the,
talk to you about this
where's the clicker? Should have it. Oh,
And I'm going to do the caveat first to say that I am horrible with numbers. So if you ask me a number and I kind of stumble, it's because numbers do not stay in my head. I usually have like a second person with me when I'm talking the numbers. So feel like 9, 22. Okay, so it's not politician. So we're gonna first start a little bit, I'm just gonna say a little bit about redistricting, does everyone here know what redistricting is? Yes, okay, so we're gonna go straight. When we redistrict, things can happen when we draw the lines, when the lines get drawn. Sometimes those lines are not exactly fair. And I don't know if any of you have children, or were children, but do you remember saying, it's not fair to your parent? Do you remember having your kids say that to you? Well, gerrymandering is how the district lines are not fair. They're not fairly drawn. Gerrymandering started in 1812 with a man named Elbridge Gerry. He was the governor, and he drew a district that literally looked like a salamander. And that is how gerrymandering got its name, from Jerry and salamander. It's on the cover of a magazine, and it was just like this district, just all over the place. I think Ohio has a few districts that look like that too. But the main goal of gerrymandering is to manipulate district lines in a way that advantages certain political groups. And that maximizes the voters' vote that they want, that will align with the party in power. Now, do you guys have jobs? Or did you have jobs? Yeah. Did you want to keep your job? Of course you want to keep your job. Do you want a bigger piece of pie when they cut that pie, your favorite pie? Yes. Thus, anyone who has a hand in the game might be just saying, well, I want to keep my job. Well, I really want to make sure that our party is going to win no matter what. So gerrymandering works like this. You have a population. So let's say you have 30 green people and 20 purple people. And you would want, what you would want in a state then, or anywhere, would be 3 green districts and 2 purple districts, right? But if the green people are in power and they want to keep their job and they want that bigger piece of the pie, they are going to draw a line by cracking it and splitting it. So basically, when people vote, the voting is going to be, you're going to end up with 5 green districts. If you pack it, so say the purple people are in charge and they want to draw the district so that they can keep their jobs, they can pack it so that they put in, and look at these crazy lines. They just, right. See how these crazy lines work? Can you see them? These are districts. This is a district. And this is how you manage to gerrymander the districts. The lines are not drawn fairly. So some of the consequences of this have been seen in elections. So in the Ohio House, the Republicans won 56% of the votes, but hold 68% of the seats. Okay, and in the Ohio Senate, the Republicans won 60% of the votes, but hold 79% of the seats. That's not fair. Not even. It should be more representative of the population of the state. Now, that is gerrymandering. But gerrymandering is not a partisan issue. Gerrymandering is absolutely a nonpartisan issue because look at New York. The Democrats are in power in New York. And in New York State Assembly, the Democrats won 50%, 1% of the vote, but hold 68% of the seats in the House. And won 49% of the vote in the Senate and hold 67% of the seats. People's voices are not being heard if this is what happened. It makes people not care. How many times have you heard people say, oh, my vote doesn't count? It doesn't matter how I vote. My person doesn't listen to me, doesn't care what I think. It cares what the people who are going to be giving him money think. It cares what everybody else thinks, what the party thinks. So they feel as though they don't have to listen to us. When electoral districts are gerrymandered, some votes count more and some votes count less. Every one of your votes should count the same. We should have a fair and representative House in both the congressional district, state, and in the United States Congress. The more gerrymandering is stated, the more this is likely to be true. Okay. And Ohio is actually considered one of the most gerrymandered states in the United States. There are others. But, so what's so bad about gerrymandering? Politicians don't have to listen to you. Even when we agree, they don't actually need to solve problems because they are going to get the vote. They are going to draw the line so that they can stay in their job. Something all of us would do, maybe. But it's up to you now. People have got to want their politicians to be accountable to them, not to their political party, not to their lobbyists, not to their donors, not to their base. So, gerrymandering. It lets representatives pick their voters. So you're not picking them, they're picking you. They're saying, oh, gee, I think that if we took this area over here, Cleveland, and then we went over here to Mentor, I think that we can get the right amount of votes so that we can win. And politicians can't be held accountable even when they go against the will of the people. Gerrymandering lowers voter participation. There are so many young people out there who feel as though it's not even worth it to vote. I have girlfriends who are like, oh, I'm not even registered to vote. It doesn't really matter. And despite my prodding and pushing, still hasn't happened. Gerrymander steals voter power. Three districts dilute power of groups who oppose the party in power. So we have to figure out a way to how do we change this? How are we going to change this? Well, I'm going to read. The League of Women Voters likes this gerrymandering cycle of doom. And the candidate gets elected, makes policies, decisions that don't reflect majority policy opinion, majority community voices get silent, they decide, nobody cares about me, stop voting, and the candidate gets elected. One of the ways that this could happen is most recently with issue 1. Issue 1. Issue 1 vote no, issue 1 vote yes, issue 2 vote yes. And the Republicans who are in power and do have the state relatively gerrymandered in their favor, pushed very, 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 very hard for the issue 1 and 2 in November to be voted out. They did not want it. Okay. But the voter passed it. Now, if that had gone through the House and the Senate, not as an amendment, but if it had gone through the House and the Senate, that would have not passed. So you have to think about how it works. We are not often being heard about what we want. And how many years have we been doing this? How many times do you guys remember voting on gerrymandering? Well, there was one in 15, there was one in 18, and it passed by like 70% of the vote twice. And it has been deemed unconstitutional. And both times, and it's still is not a fair. I can tell you personally that I was out on St. Patrick's Day. I was gonna go march in the parade and I was looking for a banner and I saw Stop Gerrymandering, League of Women Voters Hudson. And in the corner, it said 2008. And so at least we've been doing it since 2008, but I imagine people have been fighting it since 1812. Okay. Politicians can't resist temptation to draw that we want to keep our job. We want a bigger piece of the pie. But voters want to hold politicians accountable. So what are we going to do? What is the idea behind this amendment? Issue 1, it's to have the politicians removed from the process. So if you want, no matter what the language is on issue 1, if you want to end gerrymandering, then vote yes on issue 1. The language that has come down from the Ohio ballot court is confusing, misleading, and insulting, to be honest. So what issue 1 actually is an amendment that create an independent 15-member Ohio Citizens Redistricting Commission. It bans current and former politicians, lobbyists, people who worked for lobbyists, people who worked on campaigns. Basically, we're taking the politicians completely out. For 6 years. If after being out of politics for 6 years, you want to apply for this commission, you can. But you have to be out of politics for 6 years. And that's a cycle, because redistricting happens. It requires fair and impartial districts by making it unconstitutional to draw lines that are not fair. We want to make sure our lines are fair. And most importantly, the commission has to operate under complete transparency. There is so much transparency in this, and there are so many checks and balances that it's almost impossible for them to try and jerry-rig it well. All right, career politicians will again finally have competition. Competition means that Ohio voters decide who represented them, and it restores the vote to the front, not to the left. All righty. So before they did this, before they started writing, they did a lot of research. And they looked at other states who have done this, Arizona, California, Michigan. And they didn't just look at what they were doing. They looked at what kind of problems that they were having while they were doing it. So what they did is they absolutely tried to close loopholes found in existing Ohio law. The maps must comply with the Federal Voters Act. And maps favoring or disfavoring a political party are banned. Maps cannot take an incumbent or a candidate threats into account. And the map must to serve communities of interest. And we have transparency. Public hearings, 5 regions of Ohio. Each person, each candidate, each person who applies for the commission is interviewed, and the application process is open and transparent. You can watch the interviews. Interviews are public interviews. Census and voting data are made public. Public hearings are both before and after the maps are drafted, and maps must be reviewed by the public before adoption. What happens if you don't like it? Say, oh, that map isn't fair. I don't like it, and what can I do? Well, anyone can say, I don't like this map. I don't think this map is fair. And these are the reasons why I don't think the map is fair. So, any kind of a challenge goes to the Supreme Court. Okay, and the Supreme Court picked 2 special masters, and there's a whole process. And if you want me to go into the process, I will, and how they pick these 2 special masters. But they pick these 2 special masters who are map guys or girls, and they draw the map. They look at the map, they tweak the map, and they draw. And then, if it still isn't okay, or the justices can't agree, they just draw one out of a hat. They draw 2 special masters out of a hat if they can't agree, or can't agree. Fun fact, former Ohio Supreme Court Justice Marina Connor was primary writer of the amendment. She had her, if you listen to her talk about it, her head about blew off because it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And she is one of our many people who are charging ahead. So, what does the amendment do? It creates a 15-person commission. 5 Democrats, 5 Republicans, 5 independents. And these people have to represent, they're representing broad groups. We're trying to make it diverse, we're trying to make it graphically diverse, culturally diverse, racially diverse. They're banning current or former politicians. And they require, again, the commission to operate under an open and independent board. So what's going to happen? The voters draw the line. And you think, well, I don't know how to draw a line. You know how to draw a map? Anybody know how to draw a map? I don't know how to draw a map. But they have these map drawing competitions. And since multiple map drawing competitions, that's in the 2000s, and they realized that individuals, even individuals without a lot of map drawing experience, can draw a fairer map than what our politicians are drawing for us right now. All right. How can you be one of these people? You have to be a continuous resident of Ohio for the past 6 years. You have to be registered to vote in Ohio. You cannot serve in a partisan position, been a candidate for elected office, or registered as a law. So what happens is they have this open application process. The process, you can mail in your application, and they go through, they take out all politicians, they take out all lobbyists, and then they call it down to 9. And then this bipartisan panel, which is a bipartisan panel of judges, 4 judges, 2 Democratic judges, 2 retired judges, two Democrats, 2 Republicans, and interestingly, those judges are picked by the Ohio ballot board, and the Republicans on the Ohio ballot board pick the Democrat judges, and the Democrats on the Ohio ballot board pick the 2 Republican judges. And then you get it down to 45, they randomly pull out 6 people that have 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and 2 independents. And then those 6 new commissioners pick the next 9. And those next 9 have to be picked so that there is a diverse. Now, how do you know somebody will be independent? What if I say, well, I'm not really registered as a Democrat, you know, and I haven't, you know, voted in the primaries in a few years. So I am an independent. And then my application comes through, and you guys can all look at those applications. And Mimi sees me as my name, and there I am as an independent. And Mimi says, she's the crazy sign lady in her yard. She has every sign known to man. And let me tell you, they're not a mixed group. So they do a little research and I'm out. I'm not an independent. I can't prove myself to be independent. So they really do their homework. There are ways of making sure that people are. Unrig the game. This time, we the citizens are going to follow the line. It's our chance. Let's finally end gerrymandering. Questions, concerns, worries?
Thank you so much for coming. I think explaining this, I really do appreciate it. I am truly independent. Actually, I'm more than independent. I think that both major political parties are thoroughly corrupt. And so I'm against them. My 2 concerns. One is the notion that citizens are more fair than politicians seems to be that somebody who's never spent a minute on Facebook. Citizens seem to be more, I don't know, hostile, more engaged sometimes than politicians. The second thing is when I think about who would put an amendment like this is a high degree of suspicion right now. Who would put an amendment like this on the Constitution or on the ballot? And it would be the one who has the most to gain. So convince me that this isn't a Democrat attempt to go in the back door and gain control of power because they have no power.
Okay, yes, I understand completely what you're asking. Again, this is a nonpartisan issue. It really is about voter rights. It's not necessarily about whether or not the Democrats are in control or whether the Republicans are in control. What we're trying to do is to make it more fair. And yes, citizens, absolutely. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, well, it's still going to be political. And yeah, of course it's going to still be political. Of course it's going to be political. everybody has their own opinion. Some people feel this way, some people feel that way. But there are a lot of rules around how these lines have to be drawn. So that if you go back, Ohio has to look more like this. The number fair district one, this one right here. This one. That's what we want it to look like. We want it to be representative of the people who are in the state. Now, so Cuyahoga County is going to be more of a Democrat, right? Summit County is a little more Republican. But the idea is the entire statewide, we want, when we look at it, we want it to look like this. We want it to be within 3% of what our percentages is in each party. It's still going to be political, but hopefully it's fairer. And the idea is that the Republicans are in power right now here, but the Democrats are in power in New York State. And they're working on gerrymandering in New York State too. It is just, we're trying to take the self-serving part of it out. It's basically what we're trying to do, because we all, and it's human nature, you know, we all want a bigger piece. I want a bigger piece of the pie. Did I answer your question? I don't know if I convinced you, but did I answer your question?
Hi, I'm Marty. I've been following this a bit. My issue is, I think, at least this slide, there's a big problem on it in terms of how how it's representing issue one. Their representation, the way it's shown there, is not what we want, because what you'll end up with is 5 extremes. All right, so if you end up with that, the way that's broken down, the 3 greens will be 3 green extremists, and the 2 purples will be 2 purple extremists, because they have no, I mean, they're just
Right, that's really for.
What you want is, you would want a snake, follow me, top row, purple, go down second row, purple, then go across 3 things, because then you have a balanced district where you get moderates. So I think part of this, to get fair districts, you want moderates.
We want moderate.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
extremists.
Well, yeah,
That would be a problem.
this is what I have to work with. But you are absolutely correct, and I think that is when we are looking at the Republicans picking the Democrats and the Democrats picking the Republicans. I think that is the point, is so that you're going to pick people who are a little bit more in the center.
So I mean, I always like to see what others, those that have gone before us, that, you know, have the arrows in their back because they've been pioneers and learned from their lessons. Are there other states that have taken on gerrymandering in a similar way to
Yes.
this proposal?
Yes.
And could you mention who they are and how is it gone? What lessons have you learned?
Well, that's what they have kind of tried to fill in the holes from. And one of the place where we got most of it was from Michigan. They have changed it to a commission. It's a little bit different. Arizona has done it. California has done it. There are a couple other states that are escaping me that have done it. And they feel, I mean, if you look, it's never going to be fair, completely fair. No one, every single person is never going to be happy because we all have different opinions, right? I mean, we all are pretty stuck in our opinions and no one's change. So, but what we have done is we have indeed looked at all of those. And if you read the amendment, which is very, very long and very, very detailed, and the summary is 50 points. So it's a very, very complicated. But it does call for fair districts that are contiguous and that are not splitting up communities of interest, which is oftentimes what's happening now.
Couple points. First of all, probably be good to actually show wording that we will see on the ballot. So I'm looking at it, the word.
Oh my God, it's horrible.
Well, you could think it's horrible or it's great, but that's what people decide on. So it's probably good to show it, speak to it, but it actually says voting for gerrymandering. But I'm not gonna get into it, just a suggestion that you actually show it. Speak to
Okay.
it. Little history, then I do have a question. Right now, if you look at districts, they are literally drawn a certain lot in and out. I mean, really bizarre. And to the point, so that you brought up party power. So one of the times that it was pushed for this, the Democrats held all the state offices, controlled the state senate.
In the 80s.
Yeah, and Clean passed it. And I was part of the group that was trying to push for redistricting. The Democrats had opposed it. They were like, for the party of power. Because why would we vote for this for power? So I would just amend a little bit about that. Yes, you know, party on power has, but a lot of times the parties want to keep redistricting, even if they're not in power. They're hoping to be in power so they can do it. So I really feel that those who are pushing this are not pushing for a certain party rather to actually have or fair redistricting. And another point, I know one of the issues in Michigan was some of the black districts were kind of guaranteed to split up. Well, in this latest, or the Senate National's first drastically changed, Black Caucus supported it because they were guaranteed a couple packed districts around Acton and Cleveland and so forth. So yes, by sort of redistricting, that won't necessarily guarantee people's district. So it works both ways. So my question is, in terms of a politician, I don't went quickly through it, but it sounded like if you would run for a partisan office, so for example, Hudson school board, city council are not partisan. So that considered a politician or not.
You're still considered a politician.
So it's not related to whether it's partisan. And then is it a 6-year or is it forever? Like
6
you
years.
ran 30 years ago.
It's 6 years.
Okay.
The
So
past 6 years. Yeah, so it's not like for the next redistricting. You're in office right now, or you've been a lobbyist for someone in the office right now. You can move, you can apply the next time because it would have been 6 years.
I think one thing that is still confusing to a lot of people, if we're not aware of what happened. This initiative petition was signed by at least 10% of the voters that voted in the last election in all 88 counties.
Yes,
And
we
that
got,
is unusual above and beyond. So there is some basic knowledge of why the thing is on the ballot. But what I think is going to trip people up is the Secretary of State's wording.
yes,
And people who don't know this, probably don't pay attention that he wants to run for governor the next time around. So this is exactly keep the power where it is. But if people want to have fair districts, then what has to happen is you basically have to ignore the ballot language.
Yes.
The text of the amendment is as it was initially submitted and approved. It's an initiative petition, and they couldn't mess with the wording once it was accepted that the signatures were valid. So it has a chance to make things better and not to break up communities like Akron that at one point, I think they had 4 congressional districts representing the city of Akron, which makes little sense. So I'm wondering, is there going to be any further initiative to make sure that people understand what a ballot wording is correct in terms of the content of the amendment?
You're wanting, sorry, Mimi, you're wanting to know that we are, that the campaign is addressing the fact that the ballot language
Does
is
not match.
deceiving, does not match. And I think that there is a ad coming out that came through my email yesterday. So I am thinking that they are going to put on an ad on to discuss the fact that the ballot language is very misleading. And so my words to you is, if you want to end gerrymandering, please vote yes on issue 1. And if any one of you feels particularly passionate about ending gerrymandering, there are signs and other paraphernalia, if you will, that can be picked up at my house. If anybody is interested, come and see me after. And thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Right, hey, before we leave, I wanted to give a shout out and a thanks and form of embarrassing to Jay York. Jay's been a part of Hudson Rotary for quite some time, but Jay York is the strategic planner for this group. And I don't think we ever did it before Jay came to Rotary. He works on establishing all the goals and all the objectives that Rotary visions, not just for the year ahead, but for many years thereafter. And Jay is currently working on what our next significant project would be. The last being the cabin on the green. Also wanted to let you know that Jim Young is home. Blessing your home doing very well. Just some smaller challenges. Both around some years ago. Getting around when you're in a wheelchair, things of that nature, got a little more problematic, but he's doing fine. Feel free to give him or stop by and say hi. Also on a more dimmer note, I don't know how many in this group would remember, but Benny Easy. Benny passed away the 14th of September. Benny was a member of Rotary for a number of years. Did a lot of fantastic work, and passed away. So our thoughts are to his family. Rotary Foundation gave Steve Richards left, but that's scheduled for the 7th of November. It's on Hudson Drive down like where the fire station thing is down there. If more to come on it, I think Rich will likely speak more to that. Today, Clock Tower, Bob Drew speaking, he's speaking on his travels to Africa, so if anybody's interested, stop over at, what is it called now? Lager and Vine. All right, we have Rotobucks, we have some educations, Rotobucks. We are $12 payout, $3.73 for the whole enchilada. And I could get this young lady to pick the winning ticket. That number is 2461. 2461. Got it? Winner, chicken dinner. All right. Appeal all you want. That's yours. That's yours. And the saga continues. All right. Useless but important facts. So guys, you guys are going to learn so much this year. Germany. Everybody knows where Germany's at, correct? Germany has more castles than the United States has McDonald's restaurants. Yes. In fact, in 2018, Germany took on a process going to go through the entire country to not only to identify, but to verify that these are, and I don't know the difference between a castle and a house. Apparently that's what they're sifting through. There are currently 25,000 castles in Germany, and there's only 13,000 McDonald's. That seems like a low number to me in the United States. So that's your fun fact of the day. Everybody have a wonderful day, and we'll see you here next Wednesday.